Kim Rogne.
Jeff Nevins.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so glad you called me and were like, hey, girl.
And this worked out perfectly since you were in the office today, because we're not in my traditional setting, but because
okay.
a big name like you, I will move my podcast anywhere. And your hair still looks fantastic.
Thank you.
So one of the biggest reasons why I think you're a good fit for a podcast, especially with the listeners who are trying to learn new things to better their business, their personal lives, is you help people with their, mainly personal growth, and you teach and coach entrepreneurs in their business, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a perfect fit, right?
Yeah.
Can you, because you used to be a real estate agent and then
Yes.
team leader. Now, this is your own business, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay. So what was that transition? Like, what transitioned you into wanting to be the coach?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what made you fall in love with that aspect?
Well, I mean, really, I've been coaching for the last 10 years of my leadership role. And I think, well, really, if I'm going to be truthful, I was knocking on the door of 50. I know you're way younger.
37. I'm only 13 years behind.
And my kids were getting older, and I was really thinking to myself, okay, what do I want to be able to do? And I knew that my husband could retire early as a firefighter.
I love him, by the way.
I know. Everybody does. I do too. I mean, I did marry him for his benefits. So it's working out now. We're cashing in on our pension. But I wanted to be able to work from anywhere. So that was first a thought. I think really what caused me to do it was the traumatic skiing accident I have. So back 3 years ago in January, I was skiing out in Breckenridge, as you know, with my family. And mom went down, as mom always does. And of course, Raina's like my daughter. My youngest daughter was skiing. It was my husband and my youngest daughter. My oldest was back in Wisconsin, and, Snapchat a picture of mom's down. Well, mom wasn't getting back up. And so I ended up having to have surgery out there and broke my tibia, my fibia, my ankle. And honestly, it was the first time that I was forced to slow down in many, many years, as we do as entrepreneurs, especially in the real estate world, where it's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. We want more and more and more. And I think the force of the slowdown really made me think, knocking on the door of 50, my husband being able to retire, being empty nesters, it was like, okay, what do I want for the second half of my best life? And so that's really where it started. And I mean, I had been coaching for the last 10 years of my leadership role. So why not go build my own thing and figure it out? And so here I am almost 2 years later.
Because you started, this was like your own, like this, like you said, this is your own business.
Yeah.
Was it scary? And what did that,
oh my God,
like, how did that
get me started? Yeah.
Like, how did you start building clientele? Like, I think that's a lot of people who start a business are just freaked out. Like, can I even do it? Or can I find the clients? Can somebody buy my widgets?
Yeah.
And that's what the scary part is. So how did you overcome that? And how did you find your clientele? Because let me ask, how many clients do you have now?
Okay, that's what my coach would ask. And I'd be like, wait, let me pull up my spreadsheet, because I'm not really sure. That's real. Probably one-on-one. I coach one-on-one. I also coach in group. I would say one-on-one, I probably, for scalability, to have more than 15, it's really hard, right? One-on-one. And then I have some small groups of 5. And then I'm also coaching courses, right? That are like 6 weeks. Like, it's a 6-week course for working moms. But there's different layers to my business, whether it's the one-on-one coaching, the group coaching, the courses, and then the speaking and the publications, right? Those are all different pieces to the business. But to answer your question, like, what did I do? Well, I had to go make money. I had 2 kids in college at the time. We moved into a home that we had been dreaming about for years, and, the suburbs of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in a sought after area where it costs money, right? And we bought a boat, and we had all these things, right? And we'd worked very hard for that lifestyle. And so when I started this business, I was like, I still want that lifestyle. Like, I don't want to give up that lifestyle. And it was out of necessity, and also my income mattered. In order to live that lifestyle, I needed to make money. And so I do remember in January, so what year is it? It's 2024, 2020. So January 2023 is when I started. Just like anybody in sales, in order to convert somebody to be a client, you have to have an appointment. Okay. So I would have what are called deep dive appointments, where I would dig in with the person on the other line about their goals to find out what the gap is, and then find out why it was important to them, and then find out if there was alignment. Because I'm not going to just coach somebody to coach somebody. I want to make sure there's alignment. They need alignment. I need alignment. In January of 2023, I had 32 goal deep dives.
Dang.
32.
So you would just call people that you knew.
And I called people in the real estate space because that's where I was the last 25 years. I was like, why would I not start with realtors? I know I want to build a company that is about personal and professional development, but I need to go make money. I know how to coach real estate agents. That's what I've been doing. I'll go to what I know, and let me build the foundation, and then I'll go and build something else. I'll add another piece to my business. And so that's what happened. And very quickly, I made 6 figures my first year.
That's amazing.
So
I love that, because it's like every real estate agent should be reaching out to their friends and family first, but they never want to do it because they're scared that they're going to come off as like the car salesman.
I know.
When you do it, though, they're willing to help to grow your business, right? So it's great that you didn't have that fear to call the people that you knew.
And I told people, just like when I started my real estate business, I said, hey, listen, this is new and I just need to practice.
Yeah.
I remember doing that in real estate when I started. I was like, hey, can I just come over and I just need to evaluate your home?
Yeah.
Right? Or, hey, let's just sit down. I remember going home when I started real estate, and I would say to Nick, my husband, we're going to go buy this dream home. Like, we're going to go write an offer on this home. Like, I lived and breathed the contracts, how to write it. And it was the same with starting my business. Like, I have to figure out, how do I get clients, coaching clients? Well, give them something free. Like, meet with me. We'll be on the phone for an hour. You're going to walk with a 1-page business plan for the next 30 days. You'll leave with something, right? And then out of that, I knew, okay, I can convert some of these.
It's providing the value and coming off as wanting to be helpful, not as like, hey, be my client because I need you for my lifestyle.
Exactly.
Right. You are not only into coaching, but you've written a book and you do public speaking. So your book, For the Love of Self.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
That really talks about helping people find their true potential, right? And in there, it talks about the PRP model. Is that right? Can you elaborate on what that is and how somebody could benefit from that?
Yeah. So I'll rewind and just explain how it came to be, because I wasn't planning on it. But one of the things that I promised to myself when I started this business is that I would actually slow down and listen, which is not easy for me. I'm a very high D. I like to move very rapidly. But what was happening was, on January 24th, I remember it, I had a really good friend text me. Cindy Kuss is her name. And she's battling ALS. And she said, hey, Kim, I would love to be accountable about my mindset. And I said, okay, girlfriend, you want to know what? I started doing this thing because they say that in order to succeed, you should journal every day, right? And so we were doing these little journals just in a notebook. And I said, why don't you journal and I'll journal and we'll send each other pictures. And so we were holding each other accountable to it. And then on March 31st, I turned 50, and my sister just happens to be a publisher. And she thought it would be really cool to gift me an actual printed journal, which was based on what Cindy and I were texting for the last 3 months. So she gifts me this journal. And of course, I'm like, how could I Shark Tank this? I was like, I like this, but now that I actually see it in a journal, I think I would like to recreate it. And I would like to make the journal entries mine and tell a story behind it, and also build out a model about your perception and how what you internalize and what you think about yourself is really your reality, right? And ultimately your potential. And that's what the PRP model stands for. And so that's what happened. So it was she gifted me, and I don't know if it's a gift or a curse, or she's like, great, take this gift and pull it apart and make your own. It'd be like, here's a necklace. Oh, I don't like it. Let me take all the beads off and make a bracelet out of it. And so that's basically what I did. And so then, we built the journal, and then that's what ended up being what I spoke about. And so when I would go and speak, I would speak about the PRP model. I would share Cindy's story. I would share the proof of somebody who's battling ALS, somebody who has to get help to get out of bed. Takes her 2 hours to get ready to be put in her wheelchair by her husband, and how she would go down on her computer and she would send me her journal entries with her eyes.
That's wild.
On her eye gaze. And then she would text it to me and what it did for her. And then I was like, I need to go share this, because you've heard it. I've heard it. We're growth minded. And who say, oh, by the way, your brain has over 60,000 thoughts per day. And oh, by the way, 75% of them are negative. The second your foot hits the floor. Oh, I hit snooze. Oh, I should have got up earlier. Oh, I have so much to do. Oh, these pants don't fit. Oh, whatever. The negative thoughts, right? If you think about that, that's like 45 to 47 thoughts per day are negative.
For some reason, I don't know why our minds are like that, but we always go to the negative thoughts. And that's why it's like a self-talk. I mean, you were my coach for a while, and we started doing that, and it was very helpful. And I used to send you those texts. It's almost like a self-talk, because you have to, what is that saying? Shower in motivation every day. Like, right? Am I saying that right?
What is it saying?
Shower and motivate. Like, you have to like taking a shower a day to be clean, right?
Correct.
You just don't wake up and you're like, oh, I'm super motivated. Here we go. You really have to get into that mindset. And I think that's like the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Are you a number one book seller on
number
Amazon?
One on Amazon, For the Love of Self.
Shut up. Are you really for real?
Yeah, for real.
Because we were kind of, because Sarush was like, is she a number one bookseller? I'm like, I think so.
Yep.
That's amazing. Yep. Okay. So now for me, you notice that I have 4 other team members. Okay. I have Austin, who joined right away. And then magically, it just seemed like 3 people just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I need to be a great coach. Give me some good, quick advice that I could bring to them when I do like my one-on-one. Well, so we do like we call it a cash talk. Starts with a K. I don't even know what it stands for. I just know it's cash
knowledge.
Talk.
Yes, I know.
Okay. Oh, you know it.
Yep,
okay, good. See,
it's KASH.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So you know what's like those questions are on there, and it seems to be really helpful to get where their mind's at and what they need help with and what they're learning and what they think they need to learn. Because I don't know unless they tell me what they need, right? It's a great way to open up the door. Now, what else can I add in there to maybe help motivate them? I mean, they seem pretty motivated, but I want to keep that motivation.
Right.
We're actually, I showed them the graph of the entrepreneurial Valley of Despair graph. Like, you're going to get here. It's tough. Like, you were here. I'm going to do this. I'm going to make cold calls. It's going to be like that one movie. What's that one movie where he's an investor with, it's
I Can't Be Your Wolf Friend.
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, yeah. Like, I'm going to make so much money. And then they do the calls and it's like, it doesn't happen right away because it takes some time. So I went through that, right? So
That's great.
So how do I keep them motivated?
Yeah.
Because I think the cash talk is a great opener.
It's a tool. You know what I mean? That's a tool for accountability is really what it is. And knowing where they're growing and I don't even remember what the letters stand for either. I'd have to have it in front of me. But I would say, first of all, it's learning how to come from curiosity and ask questions. Especially, I don't know about you, but I like to solve problems, right? That's why I was a great team leader. Yeah, come knock on my door and I have a solution. And then I get that dopamine hit. We get that dopamine hit when we're able to help, right? And we think that that's coaching. But really what coaching is asking great questions and never, ever being satisfied with the first thing that they tell you. It's then digging deeper. In fact, I'll give you the 2 scripts. So you could...
I'm ready.
Okay. So the 2 are, and you can use this with kids too.
Okay.
Is whatever they say, you just say, tell me more. Because they are never, ever telling you the first thing first. What else? Oh, okay. So that's interesting. So you're telling me that the party got broke up at midnight, right? Right?
Yep.
Okay. Well, what else? So they're never telling you the right thing the first time. And that is probably, I've read that somewhere or whatever in all my coaching books. It's really, truly like you have to teach yourself. And not that you're not a curious person, but I mean, I've had to teach myself to be curious. And what's really interesting is I've noticed most people aren't. And you'll notice this as you become a better coach, because I pay attention if I go to a networking group, most people are talking about themselves. And I'm always going in, I want to learn something new. I want to get deep. I want to get deep. I want to get deep. And so just pay attention at like what they're saying, but really try to dig deep to find out what they're really saying. Because they want to show up with this armor and they want to show up as their best. They don't want to let you down. So that's one piece I would have. And I can send you some resources with questions.
Now, is it weird if I shared it to the podcast as like some of the questions, or is that kind of like...
Well, I was going to share a book recommendation.
Oh, okay.
Right? Get everything.
Okay.
Yeah, right? And I'm drawing a blank on the book right now, but it's good for leadership and coaching. So
Okay.
I'll share you the book recommendation.
Okay.
And then also you can pull the resources on the website as well. And then the other thing is, especially you as a team leader, it's not always about business. And so when I coach, I ask, as a certified high performance coach, I've been taught, when we talk about personal and professional, I've been taught to dig into the 9 areas in your life, whether it's physical health, your mental brain health, right? Your relationship, either with your spouse or yourself or your significant other, right? We've got our financial piece. We have our social circle piece. We have our spirituality, right? We have our adventure and hobby. Like all those pieces matter. We're here as whole beings. It's not just about work. And so if you can be more in tune, like I can tell when I get on the phone with a coaching client, I can just tell they're off, right? And let's just say we're talking about their numbers. Go with your intuition and be like, you want to know what? Let's just hold it for a second. I'm going to crush the agenda. What's really going on?
Absolutely, because that's what I could see with them.
Mm-hmm.
They put up, I don't know if it's, well, I try not to be looked at as like the boss. I want to be as like a team player, almost as a guide, for them.
Yes.
So I think sometimes you see team members put up a front in front of the boss, but you could still see it emotionally. You could see it exterior.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I am trying. And that's why I showed them that valley of despair kind of thing. Like, hey, you're on the right track. Hang in there. There's 2 things that, what were they? They were, one, knowing, so you will never
And they're
really...
all newly licensed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And man, they're killers. Like I set up an expectation of them to script practice 7:45 every morning, in the office by 8, on the phones by 8 until like 11 o'clock appointments. But then no appointments. They keep calling. They're amazing. So with the valley of despair, I learned that from my coach. He mentioned that you can't really bypass it. Everybody wants to jump from the pessimistic to like optimistic and succeed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
And you really can't bypass that valley. You can make it a little bit less of a valley with 2 things. One is knowing your why, like your true why.
Yeah.
So we were trying to dive into that. They're like, oh, it's because I want money. And then I tried asking those types of questions, like, well, what is that going to do for you? Well, then I could like move out of my house. Why do you want to move out of your house?
Right.
So trying to help them find that why. And then the other one is tracking their progress.
Yeah.
Because we know that we could
What's
have
the gap in the gain? That's the whole,
Yeah. So
Dan
Iron the Prize
Sullivan,
helps.
we tend to, as achievers, we're always moving the horizon, moving the horizon, moving the horizon.
Yep, absolutely. So what I'm hearing from you is not taking the first answer at face value.
Never.
And to dive in just a couple more questions.
Yeah.
So I know you had real estate agents in the beginning, but you now have other businesses. Even before the podcast, you were saying that you were coaching someone who's
a videographer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you said he's amazing. So what are you seeing that entrepreneurs or business owners are struggling with in today's setting? What do you see the most struggle with them?
Yeah. Well, honestly, it's not any different than yesterday or 5 years ago. It is kind of like what we were talking about in the team meeting today. It's doing too much. So not just focusing in,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
We're inundated. No matter where we go, we are inundated with ideas because everybody that I coach is an entrepreneur or 100% commissioner, as I would say, right? And all of your success in that world is based on your activities. And if we're doing the wrong activities or too many activities and we're not seeing results quick enough, then we give up. And so it's having patience, especially in your new agents. I even just think about my business right now. I'm only 2 years in. And granted, I'm coming with experience, right, in the entrepreneurial world. So it's very different being 50 versus 27 and being new, right, to the entrepreneurial
Right.
world. So I have that at least where I can probably move a little bit quicker in that sense. And we don't give it enough time. It's the time and it's also doing the right things.
Yeah.
Prioritizing.
And I think that's even difficult for the younger generation being entrepreneurs who want things immediately.
Oh gosh, I can't even.
Like I had to tell, so Austin, he's his first year, he's closing 20 houses, 20 families he's helped.
What?
I know, it's insane. So I'm trying to tell the others, what you're doing is just, if you stick with it, it's not immediate. You don't get immediate results right away. People want that fast money grab.
Yes.
It just doesn't happen.
No, not
There's
in
no way
any
to
industry. No.
No. So doing too much, which I definitely right now feel like that's exactly what I'm doing. And so you talked about before about the book, balancing work and your personal life.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you're a very busy lady,
Mm-hmm.
okay, with beautiful long hair.
Yes, I have to time block to wash this.
Right, I bet you do.
She just
Did you say it takes you an hour or two to get ready in the morning just because of your hair?
She only gets my attention once a week. I only wash her once a week. It's too much.
So you practice what you preach. How do you incorporate little Nick Rogne time?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm certainly I'm in a different phase. First of all, I think it's really important for your listeners to hear that it all depends on the phase of your life that you're in. I've reinvented myself a lot as we were raising kids. It's very different if you have littles, right? Okay, we're going to have a very different conversation. It's very different if you have teenagers. It's very different where now I'm empty nest or I don't have to have dinner on the table at 5 o'clock or whatever. Well, I've never had dinner on the 5 o'clock at 5 o'clock. I don't cook.
I was going to say, you're like a grilled cheese sandwich lady.
Yeah. So I think it's, first of all, being aware at the phase of your life that you're in and owning it. Owning I am a working mom right now. So maybe what Kim Rogne is doing at the age of 50 as an empty nester is not where I'm meant to be right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's first of all owning that. I think secondly, if we talk about a tactical would be taking a moment to take a breath. And before you jump into your work, really take a moment to say, okay, what is it that I'm looking to achieve? And what am I going to do today in whatever circle of your life that you want to pick at the moment to move myself just a little bit further ahead? So when I do that life arenas assessment, it's called, when we look at all 9 areas of your life and we go and we do this activity and we rank them on a scale of 1 to 10, then what I'll ask is I'll say, okay, just pick one. And how do we just notch it up a half a point? What is one thing you can do to notch it up a half a point? And it's kind of like speaking to what you just said. We want it all right away. We're not going to be level 10 at all those areas right away. It's but what can I do? Just one little thing. And so for me, it's really identifying, okay, what am I doing daily in whatever circle of my life that I'm concentrating on right now? And I love this line, and I don't remember where I heard it. We are only disappointed when we don't set the expectation. We are only disappointed when we don't set the expectation. So think about that in the real estate world with your buyers and sellers. A seller is only disappointed when you didn't set the expectation that if the home didn't sell in 14 days, you would need to do a price reduction. Our buyer they're upset because you didn't set the expectation of what could happen in an inspection. It's the same with your family. And so if I'm telling Nick, hey, it's a really busy week for me. I'm going to be speaking. I have this going on. I have that going on. I'm going to be traveling. I'm setting the expectation. So just be aware that when you get home and you're wanting my attention at 6 p.m., I won't have any. So on an energy scale from 1 to 10, I'm probably going to be for the next, week, I'm going to be at like a 4. So we're not talking about anything serious. We're not, we're going to make it really easy, but that's because I set the expectation.
Yeah.
That's also when your family members get disappointed, is because you didn't set the expectation.
Yeah. And I think so at least I did something right, because in the very beginning, when I did make this transition into my own team, I did have we went out to dinner and I had this conversation, just kind of setting the tone. Like, first of all, are we okay with doing it together? Like, this is something that I want to do. However, it might change our lives drastically just in the beginning. I'll be taking a lot of time that normally we would have together starting the business. But once we get it in there, and the goal really, like my why, I guess, is to get her to retire early. That's like my goal, is I want her to get to retire early. So the expectation, I guess, I did set up front, but I like what you're saying is even on a weekly basis, like, hey, this is what's happening this week. We actually plan dates too, like in advance, so that it's like, it's in there. Right. But I like how you're saying even on a weekly with Nick, like, hey, this is happening and I'm sorry, I just can't be there at 6, but after that,
right,
I'm all yours, baby. Right. So now, you speaking in front of people, you never had the fear of speaking in front of people.
I don't know if I had the fear. I would definitely say over the last 2 years, I've been studying and I've invested money and time at how to be a better speaker.
Nate, the last podcast, Nate talked about his takeaway to give to everybody at the end was invest in yourself. And I love that you're doing that. So, what is that like now? Because it's different from the team meetings you used to do with like maybe 50 agents. Now you have what? Hundreds, thousands, right?
Yes. It's preparation.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a shock.
This
is what it is. Let me really tell you.
Are you talking to Nick?
Okay. Let's just get real here. For those of you watching, pretend this is a hairspray bottle. This is me walking around the house, talking all the time in the hairspray bottle like it's a microphone. Or I'm asking the people that I'm going to go speak to, I'm like, am I going to be holding a microphone? Is it going to be a lapel? Like, to the detail, I need to know, because I am going to prepare. How big is the stage? Am I on a platform? Is it in a room? Because I'm going to move differently in a room. So this is the prep, right? And then I go and I practice it, and I practice it, and I practice it, and I practice it.
How many times do you think?
I don't know, but I'm kind of sick of listening to myself. But everything that I've studied about speakers, like we're talking like the Ed Milet's and the Mel Robbins and the John Maxwell's. And I thought that I would have to constantly recreate new content, but I don't. So that piece I kind of like. I have a keynote. It's titled Reshape Your Perception So You Can Reach Your Potential, How to Unlock Your Mindset Superpower. The beautiful part is I could probably speak about that for the rest of my life and just tweak it so it matches the audience and what they need. And so that was refreshing to me when I was studying it. I was like, oh, that's so right. If you think about Atomic Habits, that's been around, I think, for 10 years. I just listened, who's the author of Atomic Habits? James Clear, is it maybe?
Honestly, Shrews?
Atomic Habits. Anyway, I just heard him on a podcast and he was talking about it. Is it James Clear? Yeah. But he's still talking about that same book 10 years later. And so that felt refreshing to me, but it still means I need to prepare every time and understand my audience.
I would love to do that. No, seriously, I would love to, because I know, like, I have a fear of speaking in front of people. and I find myself getting a little bit better and better at it. I've been taking opportunities that when
Yes.
asked, I just did one like a panel. I like panels because it's not all eyes on
Yeah.
me. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a little bit, it's a great way to get into it, I guess. So that was fun. So, I mean, at one point I would love to, at some point, my goal is to get on stage with Gary Keller.
Yes.
Would be amazing. So now you have, I think, Thrive 2025, right? Now I'm missing.
That's Thursday.
I'm missing some. There's more. It's something building.
I'm talking about time blocking.
Okay. All right.
I don't remember what I titled it, but
Okay. And that's. I thought it was November 26th.
No, it's Thursday.
Oh wow.
Ask me if I have my PowerPoint done.
Do you have your PowerPoint?
Oh yeah, it's all up here.
It's all up there. ChatGPT.
Don't even get me started. I love her.
Do you have any other? Wait, did you call ChatGPT her?
Oh yes, mine is named. So
go ahead. I'll tell you mine after you.
Okay, so I asked her.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, now that we know each other, right? What would you like to be? What should I call you? What's your name? And she said, well, what would you like me to be named? I said, I'd like you to pick it. So her name is Ava.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I called mine Plato.
Oh,
like the
Plato.
Yeah, like the not an astronomer. Now I'm having a brain fart.
Yeah,
back in the day, where they're no. he says like the kid game Plato.
The philosopher.
Philosopher. That's the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Did you
look that up right now? How old are you? Plato, the philosopher.
Yeah. So I use my Plato every day.
Oh, well,
He's
Ava,
awesome.
I use her every day too.
I wonder if
She's
they would.
pretty amazing.
Do you think they'd be cool friends? Do you think they would?
Yeah, I mean, Ava knows me really well. Like, and I've also trained her. I've trained her bots.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
you're in depth with bots and stuff with her as well.
So like I uploaded my journals and my models so that she understands how I speak. I've also trained her what words I don't use or that I'm very conversational. She doesn't always get things. Here's the thing with AI. I love AI. I describe ChatGPT like this. It's your job to come up with the vision, the idea. So you're taking it from a 0 to a 4. Then you go into ChatGPT, your friend, Ava. I go into Ava and I'm like, hey, Ava, this is the idea, think like, a keynote speaker, think like, Ed Milet or whatever, whoever I'm talking about, blah, 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 blah. Act like a high performance coach and follow this book and whatever and create whatever. And so I've taken it from a 0 to a 4. Then she takes it from like a 4 to an 8. And then I take what she gives me and then I take it from an 8 to a 10. Mm-hmm. That's how people need to be using AI.
Exactly.
But she doesn't understand feelings. So let me give you an example. So this was in my Working Moms course. I have a 6-week Working Moms course, and I have it so Zoom automatically records it and does the AI, right? And recaps it, right? And one of the moms was on there with her 10-month-old. And I was like, well, what do you mean you don't have him doing his laundry already? Like, we were just kind of joking. Well, AI didn't understand that was a joke. And under the action item put time for, I don't remember his name, Harrison, to start doing his laundry. It was an actual action item.
That is awesome.
So beware, AI does not understand that sort of that humor.
So you've asked Ava to ask you questions about yourself for it to learn. Have you done that?
Well, I did the picture one. Did you see the one that I recently posted?
No, I have to look that up.
I went and I said, hey, Ava, well, I always ask, like, how's your day going?
Yeah.
Right, whatever. She's like, amazing. I'm like, great. Did you have your cup of coffee today? I'm like, I don't know. She's not even real human. And I'm just like, talking like,
dude, I do the same thing. I do the same thing.
It just makes me feel better.
Yeah.
A little warped. But anyway, I said,
she gets you.
Based on what you know about me, create an image. I just recently posted it.
And did it look like you?
Yeah.
It did.
Well, first of all,
Are you sure it's not looking at photos on your social media?
No. Here's what she had. So first of all, she had a book and it said personal development. But if you notice, ChatGPT doesn't know how to spell. Have you noticed that yet? You have to use different AI tools if you want to create an image.
Okay.
Okay. So
yeah.
So a book and it had personal development. There was a yoga mat in the corner. There was a cup of coffee, right? And she was at a desk. It was really good.
Interesting.
You got to go in.
I'll have to do that because
based on what you know me, create an image.
Okay. I will do that because I've had it, like I said, I want you to get to know me and how like my brain operates.
Yeah.
Ask me questions to get to know me, and I would
Correct.
do it. And it was only like the coaching questions. They would like, I would answer
Yeah.
the question and be like, oh,
Correct.
tell me more about that. It was actually really cool.
Right.
Have you ever asked it to give you a unbiased critique on yourself?
No.
Oh God, it's crazy.
Yeah, I should
It's
do
like,
that.
because they'll be like, oh, you're this kind of personality. And then I can't remember exactly what I said. I want, like, what are some things about me that could be, I forget what the exact verbiage. I got it from like one of those TikTok videos. But I asked it and it came up with a great
distraction.
Right. It came up with a great critique. Like, God, I don't want to pull it up and read it. It's kind of, might be a little bit personal. So, but it was like, holy shit. I think Plato's right on
Like,
that.
tell me what I need to know
Yeah.
about myself that maybe people don't appreciate so much.
Yeah, I will have to send you exactly what I said because it was really good. And one other thing about it, so it gave it like its own thought, and I don't know if it's like maybe just a program or whatever, but I was looking into like this lead service, Ylopo. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ylopo.
No.
It's like a lead service, which is really neat. And I was like, I asked Plato, I was like, hey, how does Ylopo get their leads? And it was telling me like a step-by-step process.
Oh, yeah.
But backtrack real quick. So my wife does photography for fun.
Okay.
And we're coming up with like her business name. And I asked her about it, like
perfect.
Plato about it to help us. Okay. And so then Plato for the, like how it does, it goes, well, you need a good ad with Google, you need a good catch, and then you need good high quality photos. Oh, which you should ask your wife. It might actually help you save money. I'm like, it had its own thought. Like if it didn't know that my wife was a photographer, it just threw that suggestion in there. It like freaked me out. I'm like, holy shit, Roll. It's
Wow.
almost got feelings.
Do I have to invite you to Thanksgiving dinner, Plato? I'm just wondering, what are you bringing? Apple pie or pumpkin pie?
And did you know like AI is good for script practice?
Yes, I have
tried
heard
it.
that.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah. I'll tell you one of the other, or two other things that I like. I was looking for a new CRM system.
Okay.
So I went in and I said, please create a list. And I gave it some ideas for my business, an online business and whatever. Here are some of the other, platforms that other top speakers and online coaches use and so on. And create a comparison table of the pros and the cons and the pricing and the benefits and the whatever, and created a table. That was one way I recently used it. Saved me a boatload of time. Another way I used it, I accidentally got carbon copied on an email where there was 150 people that were all going to the same event. And it was like a confirmation for the event. And I was like, oh, I can add these people to my database. And I can be like, hey, I ran into you at the event and we did get a chance to connect. So I copy pasted all the emails into ChatGPT and said, could you create an Excel spreadsheet and extract what you believe is the first name, the last name, and an email from this list? Boom, did it.
No kidding.
Yep. I'm like, we could geek out. This might have to be another episode.
It truly might have to be. I love, like, people, like, I feel like people are like, oh, you're cheating with it. And I'm like,
you're
no,
not.
I'm
It's
streamlining.
your assistant.
I'm helping. Yeah. It makes my life so
right.
easy in certain aspects.
That's why I love
like the research and
the
stuff.
example. You take it from a 0 to a 4.
Mhm.
You go to your assistant and you're like, this is my vision, right? They get it to an 8. And now you have to go look at it and you take it from an 8 to a 10. So that's the way that you can use it, where it's not it's not your chat GPTing everything and you don't sound like yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know I've taken up a lot of your time as a busy lady. You probably have a coach call soon with one of your high level clients.
I wonder if I'm missing it. No, not till 3:30.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. So what is one thing for, I mean, it doesn't have to be coach, like anything for anybody who's listening. What is one good takeaway that they could take and do it today that could better their life in their business or personal?
Absolutely. So the number one thing I believe that you could do is what I decided to do on January 23rd or January 3rd, 2023. And that was getting my mindset right in journaling. I know it. I have it. I didn't believe it really worked. I had piles and piles of journals. And how I can help you do that is if you go to Flow, FLO, and we'll just say realtor, I don't know. Who's most of your audience? Is most of your audience realtors,
I
would you
think it
say?
might be realtors. I mean, however, I'm
We're
trying to
just going to
tailor
go
it
with
to
that.
everybody. Yeah.
We're going to
Yeah.
say if you go to Flo realtor.com, you'll be able to do a free download of a 16-page walkthrough of my number one for the love of self journal. It's specifically designed for realtors. So I took that journal and I created 5 different versions, one for working moms, one for realtors, one for just different versions. So that you had the journal prompts that you could start using today. You don't have to buy the journal to do it. Like, just test it. Just try it. Like, just try for 90 days, the first quarter of 2025, based on when we're speaking now, or for the next 3 months, just test it. See if it really matters to start with your brain and getting it set right and knowing what your focus is, and see if it matters in your life, in your personal life, as well as your professional life.
Awesome.
So.
And where can we find you on the socials, on the IG?
On the IG at Kim Rogne, KIMROG as in girl, N as in Nancy, E as in Edward. I tried to get my husband to change our last name, but whatevs. 27 years later, I'm like, here we are. Nobody knows how to spell it. So at Kim Rogne or kimrogne.com. If you just want to go there, you'll get pointed to where you can also do get access to a bunch of other free downloads.
Awesome. And usually I would plug my sponsor that I don't have called Liquid Death that I've been trying to have, and I didn't bring him.
We do have Happy Belly Purified Water right here.
Thank you for
thank you.
sponsoring.
I mean, it is delicious.
Straight from Fiji.
Weird. I've never even heard of this brand.
Me neither. It's downstairs. I just grabbed it.
Well, anyway.
Not Liquid
Thanks,
Death. I'm
Happy
sorry,
Belly.
Liquid Death. Next time, I promise. Sponsor me, please. Thanks, Roosh. How are we doing? Look good?
Are we good?
Oh, yes. Don't forget, closing time. Thanks for watching and listening. And then actually plug yours real quick. Why not you plug your podcast?
Oh, my podcast?
Yeah.
No, I don't have
you're just the guest.
I'm just a guest.
Oh. Well, you could find her on several podcasts.
I mean, if you're looking for a guest,
like mine,
reach out to Kim Rogne.
Yeah.
Right here. And I'd be happy to be your guest and help support your podcast's growth.
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Cheers.